Okay, so I have two different things to talk about, so stick with me. I'm not just going to be talking about men in this video. I'm going to be talking about the differences in when men drop out of relationships and the workforce versus women pulling back out of relationships. So stick with me. So I was sent this video. There was a YouTube clip, and I'm not sharing the YouTube clip, but the man was talking about men are relaxing as the world collapses. In his video, he was talking about the men who are dropping out of the workforce or who are working less hours. And we've been talking about the men that have been falling out of the workforce. We've been talking about it since last year, how men are failing and flailing. This news article, I've actually done this from CBS. Millions of men have dropped out of the workforce, leaving companies struggling to fill jobs is a matter of national identity. And like this tagline, caution, men not at work. And I'm not going to do the whole article because I've done it before, but a large number of American men prime working age between 25 and 54 are not working or even looking for work, resulting in a major hole in the American economy. In 1953, 98% of men in that age range had a job or were looking for one. That number has fallen ever since. Today, 7.2 million men have essentially dropped out of the workforce. Now, some of the things that we have seen as far as why they're doing it. They're not feeling the prestige. They're not getting the respect, the social status. We've seen them speak about these things. So since they are not being elevated simply for being peen havers, and women have been on a trajectory up ever since the restrictions on education and work and getting paid equally, well, it's not equal just yet, but as women have increased their incomes, men's social status, I guess, has gone down because it's always been relative to what women are doing. Now, I want to go back to that man's video. He's talking about men are relaxing while the world collapses. And in this, he's like, men are stop doing so much work. They're not putting into the tax revenue anymore because they're not worried about women and being in relationships. They're just buying enough to get by. They're doing a one-time purchase of a PlayStation, and video games are perfectly fine. They're just going to use their video games, and they're going to buy minimalist stuff, and they're just not going to work. And at some point, a lot of these people are not working at all. So who is taking care of them? And that's where I'm like, as more women understand that some of these men are attaching like parasites so they can be supported by these women, either their mothers or a girlfriend or something. Once women pull back or detach the parasite, what are these men going to do? They can do what they want as long as they're not sucking the time, energy, and resources off of a woman. Now, I'm not going to post this man's link because I don't want to give him views, but I do want to show some of the comments on the post. Jason, if society doesn't care about me, why should I care about it? Enigma says, keep shaming men into sacrificing themselves for people who don't even appreciate it because that's working so well. Brothers Keeper says, this country hasn't given a crap about men for 50 years, so what do you expect? So they are saying that they're not being appreciated in relationships, whereas women are opting out of marriages because women are giving, and men barely participate in the household. That is the reason why women are opting out. So, like, literally, it's like we're living in parallel universes. This Jason says, I genuinely resent the fact that men are shamed, guilt-tripped, and put on blast for simply taking care of themselves. I'm a 47-year-old who did everything right and still got the shaft with no Vaseline. Real men have awakened to the cruel reality that society and women only use us as workhorses and ATMs. Enough said, as I dropped the mic. So he really feels like he dropped the mic. But the thing is, women do go to work. And that's one of the pieces that is not clicking with their brains. Like, women are literally working. We work outside of the home, and then women have to come home and work, pretty much do most of the things within the home. So that's why it's not clicking, that they really feel that they're getting the short end of the stick. But women are like, okay, bet, y'all go your own way. But they're still complaining. All right, so now this one from the Texan Speculator says, Federal Reserve, let's inflate the middle class out of existence. And then he says, men, I can't wait to go to work for paper that has lost 50% of its purchasing value since COVID. Now, this is a genderless situation because the middle class situation is impacting all of us. It is, I mean, we're all having our purchasing value, our purchasing power decline. So I don't know why they're acting like this is just impacting men. Okay, the person at the bottom says, if we're living in the you will own nothing and be happy, then it's time we will do nothing and you'll be happy. And the thing is, they can do this if they want to, but women are still facing the exact same economy. But women homeowners are on the incline. Women are outpacing men as far as education. Women are still aiming to do what they can in the workforce. We're not just simply giving up. Now, I'm not going to, this post had thousands of comments and they all seem to be so whiny. And like I was saying before, a lot of this is interconnected. One of the articles that I was talking about men falling out of the workforce were doing so because they were not attached to a woman. They didn't have a wife and a family to provide for. So why do they care at all? They don't care. But women, as women get out of relationships and pull back that energy from those relationships, they're still pouring back into themselves and getting hobbies and getting education and pouring into their friends and family. So what was interesting, right after I watched that video from that man, I saw this post from the Real Talk with Yanni, and she posted this screenshot and the link for the USA Today story. She captioned it, another proud moment. They got the image right. And the caption on this picture says, single women have hopped on a new trend of abstaining from any romantic or sexual relationships with men, including dating and casual hookups. And this goes straight along with the whole 4B movement, the whole no children, no dating, no relationships with men, no marriage, all of this. And the comments from the women are so completely different, because when women pull back their energy from relationships, because we do put a lot of time, energy, and resources into relationships, when we pull back that energy, we're not simply depressed and, whining or whatever. We're pouring back into ourselves. So look at some of these comments. Night 2102 says, my pH has never been more balanced. I love that for me, no stress. User W says, I'm so proud of this generation and movement. No more suffering like my generation endured. Beautiful Dreamer says, all across the world, a puppy is getting a new home. Books are being opened. Businesses are getting started and legs are closing. I love to see it. Seeing Isn't Believing says, awesome. They claim they don't want single moms anyway. Winning. The Cool Cat says, am I hearing women getting their senses back? Am I hearing women are being intelligent again? Wow, what a time to be alive. I'm here for it. Tana Newman says, a positive imagery for us. Indigo Vision Goddess says, well, they complained about women doing OF, being 304s, being single mothers, and now legs are closed. Well done, ladies. Carry on. Diamond said 588 says, yep, I support it. 2 years single and celibate. And Mia Manning says, she says, it's one of the only ways for women to be safe. Legit cut contact from men because we just don't know how dangerous it can get. Now, I am going to do this whole article from the USA Today. I'm going to do that in a part 2. I just wanted you guys to see the difference between the comment section for some of the men and the comment section for when women are pulling back. It's just like night and day. When they are not able to suck our time, energy, and resources, they lose that support system and they just don't know what to do with themselves. That's what I am sensing, but I do want you guys to weigh in. And I'm about to do this USA Today article in my next video. Jump in here. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Okay, so now to this article from USA Today. It says, hot girl summer, move aside. Women are going Boysober and have never felt better. So this was originally posted July 11th and it was updated a couple of days ago. Lifestyle influencer and college student Nye Johnson, 23, decided to go boy sober at the end of the school year. She's not alone. 2019 was the start of Hot Girl Summer, coined by Meg Thee Stallion in her hit single of the same name. 5 years later, we've entered the era of boy sober summer. Single women have hopped on a new trend of abstaining from any romantic or sexual relationships with men, including dating and casual hookups. Therapists say the emergence of the boy sober movement is indicative of a greater trend of young women taking a step back from ex and relationships and put a new spin on voluntary celibacy. And we're seeing that these trends are really reflected in the stats as well, because birth rates for 20 somethings have been falling and the child free movement is increasing. More women are taking a step back from dating. Here's why. Trauma and relationship therapist Jordan Pickle says a majority of her clients who are single have taken an intentional break from dating altogether within the last year, and even more so within the past few months. With the rise of online dating, more women are experiencing burnout. Dating apps require so much time, energy, and money, and then people get unsatisfying and sometimes even harmful experiences in return. Many of her female clients express laboring over curating their dating profiles only to receive minimal energy in return from the men they want to date. Shadeen Francis, marriage and family psychotherapist and board certified ex therapist, sees boy sober as the counter to boy crazy, a narrative that often paints women as desperate or obsessed with male validation. Francis says for young women in their early to mid 20s, the parts that are fun about dating have little to do with their potential partner. With online dating in particular, people can idealize a person without actually knowing anything about them. Young women love fantasizing and daydreaming about the maybes and possibilities, and often find that actually talking to the person ruins it, she says. They love coming back and talking with their friends about their experiences, but the actual interactions that they're having in these romantic or sexual settings are often disappointing or confusing or overwhelming, or sometimes they're finding themselves in unsafe contexts. What it's like to go boy sober. Johnson and her best friend used to joke that they were never single at the same time. As soon as her friend became more serious with her partner, Johnson realized she was in a place where she wanted to be the exact opposite of that. I'm such a lover girl. It's not that I'm always looking for relationships, but I don't mind dating and just experiencing people, she says. I wouldn't say that I got a lot of pushback from my friends, and if I did, it was more so them not thinking that I would be able to do it. But 3 months in, she's found it easier than expected, even calling it fun. Before going boy sober, Johnson had gotten out of a 2-year relationship and another serious relationship that followed. While dating, she was always the friend with her boyfriend and felt her female friendships would suffer. I was always so engulfed in my boyfriend, she says, adding that he would tag along on her hangouts with friends. It can be a little aggravating to have friends like that, and I didn't want to be that friend. I wanted to be a good friend and not just a friend who was focused on her relationship. I'd love to hear that. That's what I'm saying. We need to be focusing on our friends and family and hobbies and ourselves. She also found herself in unsatisfying relationships. Since going boy sober, she's learned how to set boundaries for herself and decentralize men and dating in her life. I'm so comfortable with not talking to guys, being in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or seeking male validation. What makes this different from voluntary celibacy? For Johnson, going boy sober is a fun spin on celibacy, as it entails all the same things as celibacy, just an exciting way. Frances says the language we use actually goes way deeper and reflects a communal aspect that makes boy sobriety so appealing to young women. While celibacy centers on abstinence, sober is about clear-headedness. The language is a lot about reclaiming that energy for yourself. You still get to be a sexual or sensual being, even if you're no longer in pursuit of or trying to get the attention of partners. Boysober also moves away from the historical context of celibacy, which Francis says has often been about purity, external forces, and proving or earning something. What is voluntary celibacy? The actual empowerment of saying no, changing what it feels like to be single. Women are redefining what it means to be single, Pickle says. Being single is not something shameful. It doesn't signal any kind of lack, but it is an empowered choice. By going boysober, women are actively decentering men in their lives rather than trying to please men, taking a step back. Through this intentional break, some of Pickle's clients have even realized they were queer and were able to begin exploring their sexuality. You can get so caught up in the game of compulsory heterosexuality that you don't even necessarily realize or entertain the idea of dating people other than men. Is there a future for the boy sober trend? Like most trends, Pickle and Francis say boy sobriety will likely come and go because people ultimately still want romantic partnership. Johnson set a goal to stay boy sober through the summer, and while she plans to continue it, she says after that she'll be open to dating if the right person comes her way. I really just want to build a strong and meaningful connection and friendship with whoever I decide to be intimate with in the future. Going boy sober has also helped her realize that what she wants in a future partner, and she feels more confident in her ability to enter more fulfilling relationships going forward. Even if it's only temporary, Johnson recommends anyone struggling with the need for validation to go boy sober, put that energy back into themselves. Pickle and Francis are also on board. When young women almost inevitably go back into the world and pursue dating and relationships, Francis says they can be clearer about their boundaries and advocate for what it is they want from a partnership and feel less overwhelmed or hooked by the drama of it all. So this sounds like a temporary, maybe a temporary pause to reset, get centered, focus on yourself a little bit. It doesn't seem as hardcore as the 4B movement. So it's like a cleanse of sorts. So this same post was posted on Instagram, and the comments were very telling. Okay, some of the comments. This is a woman speaking. Calling it a trend is sad. More women are being more responsible with their body, time, and requiring substance. That's not a trend, that's a lifestyle. Only Eudora says, the men in the comments need therapy. How do you turn something so positive and make it so negative? Jesus Christ. Amina says, I'm a woman, but this is not a trend. It's called preserving my peace and energy because no one deserves it. A Smurfette Summer says, Dear complaining brothers, the sisters selecting celibacy wouldn't have slept with most of you anyway. Stop being mad about a piece of the pie you weren't even getting. Amen. This trend starts before or after their promiscuous phase. Like some of the comments are saying, these men are being kind of negative about a woman doing a boy sober detox or cleanse. Trust Unk says, it's a healthy choice for a woman or man if one chooses to step back. It's most likely due to a history of poor outcomes and poor choices. Stepping back allows one to analyze previous experiences, identify trapdoors, triggers, and traumas that led to the poor outcomes, set and enforce boundaries, first with oneself and then with others, completely cut ties to past relationships, situationships, and lovers, find peace and happiness, make the shift from expectations to standards, level up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically, make a couple of dreams come true, earn their name. When one has made the investments and sacrifices necessary to earn their name, she won't take just any man's name. He won't just give any woman their name. Trust Unk. Unk is a man, and Unk actually gave some pretty well-balanced bullet points right there. I'm going to end it there. I'm not going to go into all of the things that men are saying. Men are just like, oh, now that they have body count, blah, blah, blah. But like, comment, share. Okay, so I kind of rushed the ending. Basically, like, comment, share, tell me what you think.